Hi, Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Risings. Welcome to your June 2022 horoscope. My name is Cailin, and today I'm going to be covering the major transits for the month ahead using tropical astrology and the whole sign system. I strongly recommend that you watch your ascendant sign, otherwise known as your rising sign horoscope, first and foremost, because it will be the most accurate for you overall. Having said that, if you've got time to watch your sun sign horoscope and your moon sign horoscopes as well, I recommend that you do so because this will give you a more well-rounded picture of what you can expect for the month ahead. So the moon sign horoscope will tell you more about your family life, your relationships, your emotional health and well-being, and it will also pertain to your property and living circumstances. Whereas your sun sign horoscope, for those of you who are Scorpio suns, will find that this will resonate more for you with regard to your career and your life goals. So, on the 3rd of June, Mercury will station direct at 26 degrees in the sign of Taurus in your 7th house. So, there will still be a 2-week post shadow period, which will end around the 17th or the 18th of June. Nonetheless, after about the 3rd, this is when you can start basically ironing out any sort of differences that you've had with your significant other, with a business partner, or with clients. There may have been some renegotiations which were occurring with regard to your contracts that you have with them, especially if you are in a sales-based role or if you own your own business. Of course, Mercury will have been retrograde through your 8th house as well as your 7th house. So you may have experienced delays to receiving money from your clients. Maybe your significant other's pay was delayed or the amount was adjusted somehow. This can see you having made changes to your child support agreement or your alimony agreement. And of course, if you were waiting for inheritance money to come through, you'll want to wait till basically, I would say, mid-June and onwards. And lastly, with the Mercury retrograde period finally being over, this can see you actually having sorted out differences with anyone that you're in a relationship with, especially if there were existing issues or arguments that you kept having over and over again. This Mercury retrograde period will have allowed you to see things from each other's perspective, or at the least you see things from their perspective. And for some of you, many of you, I'm sure you will have heard back from exes, ex-friends, lovers, business partners, people that you used to do business with. All kinds of people can come out of the woodwork during a Mercury retrograde period, and surely some of you will have reconnected with a former romantic partner. Now, on the 4th or the 5th of June, depending where you live in the world, Saturn will station retrograde at 25 degrees in Aquarius in your 4th house. So the 4th house is connected to your family. It represents your property that you own or that you are staying in. Basically, it represents all kinds of accommodation and living circumstances. And essentially, Saturn is retrograde 5 months of every year. So it's not necessarily a big deal, but I do like to mention when the planets station direct and retrograde. So it will be retrograde until the 23rd of October in 2022. Now, on a physical level, this can see you needing to make structural changes to the property that you live in, whether or not you own it. And, on a different level, if you are building a property, unfortunately, this can see you experiencing delays with the build, or even just delays in your ability to relocate. So maybe you've been trying to move on from where you are or make plans to buy property, relocate, or whatever it is. And this can see you potentially needing to stick it out until October. On a different note, and this is more on the emotional level and psychological level, with respect to your family, this can see you enforcing your boundaries with them. Saturn rules over our ability to say no to another person, to people, places, and things. And because Saturn is retrograde in your fourth house, this will be, for many of you, your chance to work hard at saying no to your family and really enforcing your boundaries. Maybe you'll be breaking away from traditions or the expectations of your family. And I'm saying this because Saturn is a planet which represents traditions, and essentially, with Saturn being retrograde here, this is sort of like you saying, no, I'm not going to do this. I don't believe in this. I'm not partaking in this anymore. And the thing is, the more you start saying no and enforcing your boundaries, the harder your family, or maybe even just your flatmates, the people that you're living with, can basically just turn around and try to kind of clamp down on this, on you reclaiming your power. Maybe they're going to try harder to control you in some way, shape, or form. Just remember that this is a general reading, so this will apply to all of you in different ways. Another way I could see this playing out is maybe you don't really have access to your family for the period of time where Saturn is retrograde, or maybe you're not able to live in your home for that period of time because it's getting built. So you can see how it could play out on a number of different levels. And lastly, this could just be you having kind of a challenging time with family, generally speaking. Even if it's not you, maybe it's them, and you're having to put in extra work to be supportive. Now, on the 11th/12th of June, again, depending where you live in the world, for me in Australia, this will be on the 12th of June. If you're in the States, this will be on the 11th. Nonetheless, there will be a conjunction forming between Venus and Uranus at 16 degrees in the sign of Taurus, and this will actually be opposite the moon in Scorpio, which will be in your first house. So it's a bit of an interesting one in that conjunctions represent the beginning of something new, okay? But on a different level, Uranus is a planet of sudden change and separation and, divorce. So this could go either way, but what I can say is that this will involve one or more of your personal relationships and connections, whether it's romantic, business, friendships, or clients. So, on one level, you may form a new relationship or partnership with one or more of those aforementioned individuals. Now, because of the influence of Uranus, somehow this could be premature, unexpected. There could be a shocking new development in one of these existing relationships as it is. And, maybe a new client comes out of nowhere, but they need to strike up a deal with you straight away. And there's some sort of chaotic element to this particular conjunction. So, again, this is on the 11th or the 12th of June. So, I just want to say that on a positive level, you could be signing a new contract. This could be related to property, especially because Uranus rules over your fourth house. So maybe you are buying a new property, selling a property, signing a new lease. You could actually be breaking lease as well. And on a different note, because the moon rules over your ninth house and it is in your first house during this conjunction, there could be an exciting new opportunity to travel, or an opportunity which is connected to education. And the influence of Uranus here is that it's unexpected. Maybe you have to move a lot of things around in your schedule to be able to capitalize on this opportunity. And on a different note, like I said, this can indicate the ending of a relationship. So this could be a sudden split or separation from someone, whether this is romantic, business, friendship, or even a client contract. And by the way, this conjunction happens once every year, so it's not like you haven't experienced this energy before. Just so you know, Venus, Uranus aspects can bring about something which is very exciting, it can be like a nervous excitement. I remember when I had Venus in my first house. No, I had Venus conjunct my Uranus in the seventh house. And this is when I landed a really huge business opportunity, and it was a day of my Venus return. So this can definitely bring you something exciting and unexpected and fortuitous. It really just depends on your own natal chart. Lastly, for those of you who are in a marriage or in a long-term committed relationship, this can see something unexpected happening in the life of your partner. Now, this could be related to their career or their work somehow. This could also involve their family. And by that, I mean like siblings, cousins and aunts and uncles and whatnot. So now on the 15th/16th of June, Mars, which is your ruling planet, will form a conjunction with Chiron in Aries at 15 degrees in your sixth house. Now, this conjunction occurs about once every 2 years. And because Mars is your ruling planet, you definitely will be feeling this one on a personal level. I would say for sure Scorpio risings. For my moon in Scorpio people, this will play out on more of an emotional level. And for you Scorpio sun people, definitely listen to what I have to say on the work front. Now, the sixth house is connected to things being out of balance and conflicts. And so, with Mars being conjunct Chiron here, this is all about you consciously addressing the things that are out of balance in your life. So, as far as astrology is concerned, Chiron is a what's called a centaur. It was formerly known as an asteroid, and as far as Greek mythology goes, it represents where we have some sort of core spiritual wound or emotional wound, because in Greek mythology, Chiron was a centaur who was a very gifted healer, and he was able to heal everyone except for himself when he got injured. So, Chiron is actually our window to spiritual enlightenment. And also, this is where we can actually help to heal other people as well. So, essentially, with respect to your health, your habits, and your routines, this particular conjunction can basically show you where you are refusing to take action. Where are you refusing to help yourself? And I'm saying this because the sixth house is connected to your health. It's connected to your daily habits and routines. And it also rules over doctors and healers. And with Mars being your ruling planet and conjunct Chiron, this can show you sort of placing too much of an emphasis on fixing your own problems, because Mars is the planet of independence. And definitely wherever we have Aries in our chart, this is where we can become very like stoic. We can have a lot of resistance to admitting weaknesses and vulnerabilities here. So that's why Scorpios, with respect to their work and their health, they are very private, and they want to do stuff themselves without involving other people. So, I've made a very specific note here. If there is something which is causing you physical pain, as Mars conjunct Chiron in Aries can definitely bring, this is your opportunity to admit to yourself that you need help. Okay, and I'm not saying go see a specific type of doctor. This is like you addressing if you have a physical concern. Of course, it won't be for all of you, but for those of you that this does resonate with or pertain to, I would definitely be capitalizing on this energy to find a gifted healer, someone who can help you. You may actually meet a doctor or a healer that you connect with, and maybe you'll want to book an appointment with them. Now, on the work front, The sixth house represents people that we employ, and it can also represent our boss as well. Because Mars is your ruling planet, this is like, are you on the receiving end of bullying or some sort of abuse? Maybe it's verbal abuse, because 15 degrees is the Gemini degree, which is connected to communications. On a different level, there may be a conversation that you have with an employee or with your boss where your actions are being addressed. So, I don't want to call any of you guys bullies necessarily, but there may be behavior that you are exhibiting which is brought to your attention, and maybe you're being asked to change some of your workplace behaviors. Now, because the sixth house represents your boss, this can see you standing up to your boss and communicating what they're doing that is hurtful to you or hurtful to the other employees. And this is actually an opportunity for you to have a very frank conversation with them. And they can actually take on board what you were saying, because there is this like meeting of Chiron, which wants to help, it wants to heal, it wants to understand. And then Mars, which is like being softened by the impact of Chiron, or the conjunction with Chiron. Now, lastly, with this conjunction, you may be having to face whether or not you are a workaholic. Do you insist on doing everything yourself? Do you detest enlisting the help or the services of other people? Do you consider yourself to be like a Mr. Fix-It, where you're the one who has to solve your own problems? Again, there can be this very obvious obsession with being independent, because you do not trust other people to meet your standards and help you in an effective way. So that's all I have to say on the Mars Chiron conjunction. I personally have Mars conjunct Chiron in my birth chart. So as you can see, I do like to focus on it, and it does take a lot of work to unpack what drives you and what your fears and your concerns are. So now on the 22nd or the 23rd of June, depending where you live in the world, Venus is going to enter the sign of Gemini, which means it will be transiting your eighth house. So the eighth house represents your mutual resources. It represents your emotional intimacy, your sex life. It can represent healing and the occult, divination, and also psychologists and psychiatrists. So basically, wherever Venus goes, this is where we can experience blessings or some sort of ease with this particular area of life. So, with Venus in your eighth house, this can see you receiving inheritance money, child support money, alimony money. You may receive your tax return, your partner's pay may increase. They may receive a lump sum of money. They may acquire some sort of valuable or possession, or their financial contribution to your mutual resources can increase somehow. And maybe you're actually combining resources with your significant other or with another person, and this could be for the first time. So maybe you and your significant other are like, hey, we've been together for a while. Why don't we open a joint bank account together? And I'm saying this because Venus rules over your seventh house. So this can indicate you, like I said, joining financial forces with another person. Now, because Venus rules over your seventh house, which is Taurus, and the seventh house is connected to your clients, this can see you making more money off of deals that you're doing, business transactions, sales, your services that you offer, especially if you're in some sort of consulting role. Now, the eighth house is connected to sex, and Venus is a planet of relationships. So this can see you focusing for this 3 or 4 week period from the 22nd of June till about the 18th of July on your sexual. Oh my God. It's Mercury retrograde. I can barely speak. Anyway, this can see you focusing on your sexual intimacy within your relationship, or maybe you're just having a fling, having a one night stand. Maybe this is a friends with benefits situation. Maybe a new sexual relationship is beginning and you're not, necessarily putting a label on it right now. You're just seeing where it goes. With Venus in your eighth house, this can see you experiencing success with an emotional breakthrough with respect to your personal relationships. And certainly, you could start seeing a psychologist or a psychiatrist that you actually like and get along with, because the eighth house represents the occult and divination. You may see an astrologer or a tarot reader or like a psychic medium or a Reiki practitioner, and you could really get along with this person and, form an ongoing relationship with them. Or even if you just have one reading, you could sort of class this as, a success. And I guess this is the right time for me to tell you that I do offer private readings, which are astrology readings, tarot readings. So if you want to book a private reading with me, you can do so via the link in the description box below. Moving along though, on the 28th of June, this is when Neptune will station retrograde in the sign of Pisces in your fifth house. So, like Saturn, Neptune spends about 5 months being retrograde every year. So, it will be retrograde from the 28th of June until the 4th of December in 2022. So it's not necessarily a big deal, like I said, with Saturn, but I really like to mention retrogrades and, planets changing direction. On the business front, because the fifth house is connected to business, this can see you working to close down your business. Maybe you're actually giving away some of your resources for free. Maybe you're donating resources to clients. Maybe you're going to be doing some pro bono work or promotional work. And on a different level, Neptune represents sacrifice and loss. So, like I said, you could be working to close down your business. This could be a 5-month period, or you could be stepping away from your business. Again, this could be for about 5 months. And even if you're not pushing the pause button on it altogether, maybe you're just not really able to contribute as much time as you would like, or as you have been doing thus far. With the fifth house representing our hobbies and passions, you may actually have to sort of sacrifice some fun time or some recreational time. You may have less access to engaging in your hobbies or passions because, for one reason or another. Because the fifth house is connected to children, it could be that you have children who you need to dedicate your time to helping or raising. And, for those of you who do have children, you may need to give something up to be there for them. You may need to basically, I don't want to say donate. I guess if it's your own children, maybe you're just like helping them out with your resources. Maybe you're helping them out with money. And for some of you who have wanted to have children, maybe your desire to have children is dissipating. Maybe you're saying, okay, I'm not going to try to embark on this journey anymore. And for those of you who already have children, you could be actively trying to understand them more and to connect with them on an emotional level or even on an artistic level, because the fifth house represents our creativity. So, with the fifth house representing romance and love, this can see you sacrificing dating for a few months. Maybe you won't have as much time to spend with your partner, whether this is just like a reduced interaction with them, or maybe you're, traveling abroad, or for one reason or another, the amount of time that you're able to spend together is reduced during this 5-month period of time. And on a different level, this can see you working on emotional issues that you may have within this relationship and actually being able to connect to them on a much deeper level. It's kind of like Neptune being retrograde allows you to cut through the confusion and get to the core issue. And the same can be said for those of you who are single and who want to be in a relationship or who want to date. This can see you sort of unraveling why that hasn't happened for you at this point in time. Now, lastly, for the month, and I want to end on a huge high, Venus will be in Gemini in your 8th house and making a sextile to Jupiter in Aries at 7 degrees in your 6th house. So, Jupiter is the planet which represents blessings and abundance and prosperity and good luck and good fortune. Jupiter is considered to be the greater benefic planet in astrology, whereas Venus represents, well, it's the lesser benefic, but it is still representative of money, abundance, resources, and love and relationships as well. So, the combination of these two in a harmonious aspect, which is the sextile, is very, very beneficial for us, just, everyone, generally speaking. And how this will impact you will be connected to your health, healing, the workplace that you're in, the work that you do, mutual resources, debts, and also any kind of addiction, bad habit, or vice, or even fear that you have. So I'll go through a few different ways that this can play out for you, but essentially, Jupiter represents knowledge and wisdom, teachers and influential people who are very wise and who are able to share their wisdom and guidance with us. So, with Jupiter being in your 6th house and the 6th house being connected to health, work, bad habits, routines in general, and debts, I can see some of you will be receiving funds which help you to get out of debt because Venus is in your 8th house of mutual resources. Maybe you're not being necessarily given money, just handed cash. Maybe it's you having access to an educational course or a program on money management, or maybe you will come into contact with someone who is very experienced in managing money, resources, finances. Maybe they can tell you, everything you need to know about the stock market or about speculative investments. And some of you may, and the reason I say speculative investments is because Jupiter rules over your 5th house and it also rules over your 2nd house. So we're combining speculative investments with finances and resources and valuables and so on and so forth. So because Jupiter is in your 6th house, which represents any kind of habit that you have, and because it rules over the 5th house, which can represent gambling and sex, and we've got Venus ruling over the 12th house, which represents recreational substances, some of you may just be cutting these habits out. Maybe you have the help that you need to do this. With Jupiter ruling over your 2nd house, which is connected to food, and with Venus being your relationship to food, maybe you are going on some sort of health journey, or there's an opportunity here for you to understand issues that you may have with eating disorders, emotional eating, your relationship with food, just generally speaking. And like I said, your relationship with money. So, certainly, you could be addressing issues that you may have with gambling. Essentially, the way that sextiles work is that it is an opportunity that you need to accept. So you need to say, yes, I'll take you up on that offer, or I need your help, or yes, I'd like to enlist your services. Now, it could be that you are receiving a discount on someone who provides these services. Maybe they're, giving you 50% off, or, buy four, get one free, or something like that. So, as you can see, there's a number of different ways that this can work out. In a nutshell, though, I do see this sextile, which once again will take place on the 29th of June, as benefiting you financially, benefiting you with regard to your health habits and your daily habits. Help comes in from someone that you can trust and someone who knows what they're talking about. And this can have a helpful, beneficial, and profound impact on you on a psychological level. And so, Scorpio, that's all I have for you for June 2022. If you enjoyed this horoscope, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. Like I said earlier, if you'd like to book a private one-on-one reading with me, you can do so via the link in the description box below. Enjoy your month ahead, Scorpio, and I will see you guys in July.